Terry Carrington. I'm one of the Autism Resource Specialists here at Project Access, and this is the third in a four-part series of webinars on functional behavior assessments, or FBAs. The focus of this session targets formal data keeping. In the two previous webinars, Joyce discussed antecedent, behavior, consequence, or ABC data, and that's where we'll start today. There are two main reasons to keep formal data. We keep data to monitor progress and to make accurate database decisions. It is also important to know where we are in terms of progress. If progress is slow or not coming at all, that helps us know when to make intervention changes. If we're making great progress, we'll know to keep doing what we're doing. Keeping data also allows us to make informed predictions about timelines. If we've made steady progress, we can make a best guess about when we'll meet our goal. Sometimes teachers will keep pages and pages of anecdotal data, but it's never graphed or analyzed. This is a key component of behavioral intervention. We must be able to see the data in order to interpret it. I would probably take ABC data through several sessions. What I would be looking for is a pattern. This narrows my focus, and I can choose a behavior or two to target more specifically. Once I become clear on that target behavior, I can start taking more specific or directed data. The sample on your slide shows two incidents that have been documented on an ABC chart. If I had taken data through several sessions, I might have found a pattern indicating that when this student does not feel good and he is asked to perform non-preferred timed tasks, he acts out. Or I might have been able to narrow my focus to indicate the challenging behavior appears to be happening only on timed tasks or only with worksheet type tasks, whether timed or not. I might find out that the setting event, in this case recent strep throat, does not make a difference in the behavior. I might also note that the consequence is important in determining further challenging behaviors. Again, I'm looking for a pattern. Sometimes this information is clear enough. I have most of what I need to determine the function of the behavior and the likely antecedents and consequences that set the student up for the behavior and maintain it. In this scenario, I would like to collect additional data, however. Joyce showed you this resource in the preceding webinar, and we'd like to remind you of it again. This is titled Functional Assessment and Program Development for Problem Behavior, a Practical Handbook, and it's by Robert O'Neill and several others. It's published by Brooks Cole Publishing Company. We like some of the forms contained in this resource and want to show you the Functional Assessment Observational Form. It's the form I'd like to use to collect additional data. The Functional Assessment Observation Form is included in the resource. Its use is easy, and it's a clear way to take data while also looking at antecedents and consequences. On first glance, this looks difficult, but it is straightforward and easy to complete. I'll show you how on the next slide. You can see under Behaviors, we have chosen to take data on tearing up worksheets. The schedule indicated spelling from 8:30 to 9:40, reading from 9:30 to 10:30, math from 12:30 to 1:30, and science from 1:30 to 2:30. We decided to take data during these four class periods. Looking at the bottom of the graph, you can also see we took data on three separate dates. The diagonal line separates the dates. So the numbers 1 through 4 on the data sheet indicate data from February 5th. The numbers 5 through 8 indicate data from February 6th. And the numbers 9 and 10 indicate data from February 8th. There's no ending date on the top of the form as this data is ongoing. During spelling, our student tore up a worksheet twice on February 5th and once on February 6th, as represented by the numbers. All three times the predictor appeared to be a demand request, and it also appeared that we had a setting event on February 5th indicating he was sick. There was no setting event on February 6th. We determined the function of the behavior was more than likely to escape or avoid the demand. The consequence was that his behavior was ignored. Since he had already torn up his paper and the data does not indicate if he was given another, did the behavior work for him? It did meet the perceived function of avoidance. Therefore, we could say ignoring the behavior is possibly a maintaining consequence. I think you get the idea. So our summary statement would read like this. When the student is given a request or command to complete a worksheet, he tears up the worksheet and escapes the task. We're not sure if the setting event is significant, as that was only true one day. We might want to look into that further. This statement clearly indicates the function of the behavior is to escape or avoid worksheet-type tasks, and that will be significant as we develop our intervention plan in the next webinar. This graph demonstrates very simple event recording. We are tracking worksheet refusals, so the y-axis shows the number of times worksheets were refused, and the x-axis shows each day, 1 through 21 on this graph. We simply plot data points and connect them with a trend line. A word of caution when graphing. You must be careful in your recording, as you can easily make your graph represent something altogether different from what you really want to target. You must adhere to an operational or specific description of the behavior you are counting so the data reflects only that. Also, think about the opportunity for the behavior. On days you might have a class field trip or you're completing state tests and so on, you would not want to just plot 0. That would skew your trend line. You need to be consistent so your data means something. There are many other ways to keep data. We just demonstrated event recording. This is completed by counting the number of times a behavior occurs. Not every behavior lends itself to event recording. For example, a student may have what we would call meltdowns during the day. We would want an operational definition of a meltdown, and part of that description would include the length of time the student is engaged in the behavior. Maybe our student only has 1 or 2 meltdowns a day, but they last an hour. In this case, counting the number of times the behavior occurs is not very helpful. We would probably choose to keep track of the duration of the meltdowns. This is called duration recording. You might find from your ABC data that a pattern is emerging where a student does not respond in a timely manner. Your data might focus on determining the length of time between a request, for example, and a response. This is called latency recording. For a student who is not keeping tasks and work completed, you might keep data simply by counting task completion. There are many ways to keep data, and describing them all is beyond the scope of this webinar. The point is to pair your choice of data keeping options with the behavior you're targeting. In searching the internet, we noticed a couple of data sheets for duration and latency recording on www.ikeepbookmarks.com. Here are some additional sources for forms. The EdWeb forms are especially nice in that they can be completed on a computer. The final webinar will cover intervention plans. We will focus teaching functionally equivalent appropriate behaviors, but also on antecedent and consequence changes we might consider. Thanks for watching, and we will see you again on webinar number 4.